Wilma Rudolph, Virginia Hall, and Amelia Earhart were leaders who reached the top of their respective fields. They lived at times when there were low expectations of women professionally, yet they became world-class in athletics, espionage, and aviation. They showed the world what is possible when you refuse to give up on your dreams, when you refuse to let adversity define you. Many of the women in this book were firsts. The first to be prime minister, the first to take a stand, the first to fly. Being the first is hard. It can be lonely and isolating. There is no roadmap, and people assume something is impossible simply because it hasn't been done before. These women are leaders because they paved the way for the women who came after them. We walk in their footsteps and leave a well-trodden path for the women who come after us. As you listen to these words, remember we have the potential to make life better for others. In our own small way, we can inspire, mentor, and encourage other women to do great things. So don't hold back. Don't be silent. Don't give in to fear. Be bold. Be adventurous. Be yourself. There will always be people who want to tell you what you can do and what you can't, what is possible and what is not. I know because I've encountered those people throughout my life. Some of them were well-meaning, but all of them wanted to limit my potential. Your potential is limitless. Your life, the life you want, is worth fighting for. So fight. Chapter 1. It's easy to talk about principles. It's hard to stand by them when everyone is lined up against you. No one embodied this truth better than Margaret Thatcher, Britain's first female prime minister. She wanted to save Great Britain, and she knew it would be difficult. That didn't stop her. That was a reason to forge ahead. That's why she's always been an inspiration to me. And that's why I borrowed a version of her famous quote for the title of this book. If you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. Margaret Thatcher didn't want to become prime minister to sit around and talk. She wanted to do things, big things, important things. This determination in the face of opposition defines many of the women in this book. It was how my mother raised us, to confront problems head-on and find solutions. And it struck a chord with me as I sought to leave my mark on South Carolina. I ran for office to make a difference. I've always believed the best way to appreciate God's blessings is to give back. But to really work to lift up everyone and make lives better, you have to be willing to shake things up. The best or worst example of this was my fight against the practice of holding voice votes and not showing individual votes on the record in the South Carolina State Legislature. If you wanted to see how your legislator voted on an important bill, like voting for a pay increase for themselves, you couldn't look it up. There was no record. There was no transparency and no way to hold legislators accountable. It was embarrassing, and it had to stop. I wrote a bill that would require a roll call vote on any legislation that spent or raised taxpayer money. Only one other legislator wanted to sponsor the bill. At a Republican meeting, the Speaker of the House attacked me for daring to challenge how the legislature had long operated. He actually said they would decide what voters needed to see and what they didn't. I was appalled and frustrated. I knew the people of South Carolina would agree with me if they knew what was happening. So I took the fight to them. I traveled around the state urging voters to call their legislators and tell them to support my bill that simply stated anything important enough to be debated on the floor of the House or the Senate.